Hey, Jerry Stevenson, Chief Redneck in Charge at the Redneck BBQ Lab, McGee's Crossroads in Benson, North Carolina. I'm here in the RBL studios today to show you guys how to make barbecue shrimp at home, just like I do at mine. First thing you might ask is what's barbecue shrimp? Well, it's one of these things I stumbled upon down in Louisiana one time I was traveling through, and it was not what I expected. First I thought was barbecue shrimp was you think about as, well, shrimp on a skewer, grilled or put into a smoker or something like that. And this wasn't that dish whatsoever. This dish was actually like what we call in Eastern North Carolina broiled seafood, but had a little bit of a flair to it, a Cajun flair to it. Had some of that cayenne, which went, wow, reminded me of our Eastern North Carolina influences here as well. And something that just popped in my brain that was like all these little spices and vegetables were kind of dancing together with these shrimp. And it just combined to really make a really pleasurable and memorable experience for me. And I said, I'm going to do this at home. So I went home and thought about it. And after a lot of trials and tribulations, kind of came up with this recipe that kind of proud of, and I'd like to share with you guys today. But before I share this recipe with you, I would like for you to like this video, our YouTube channel, share this with your friends. We're trying to inspire here, not only to share, but to inspire folks to get out and cook, not only for their friends, not only for their family, but maybe together. Also, we would like for you to subscribe to this channel and click on that bell down there for YouTube. The bell means that as soon as videos like this one are released, you will know first. You'll get an email or something will pop up and say, hey, video's coming live. Lastly, please leave your comments and your suggestions as to what you thought about this video or what you would like to see us do or attempt to do in the future. So, with that being said, folks, let's hop into this recipe. First thing is you need some quality shrimp, and this is not shrimp that comes out of the supermarket in a frozen case that comes from someplace overseas. No, sir, not us. Us, like the folks that I had down there in Louisiana, these come from off of our coast. These are North Carolina green-tailed shrimp. We get them a couple times of the year. They're an ocean shrimp. They are caught outside of the inland waters, just out off the coast. They have a higher salt content, which means that they're more flavorful, and they also retain a lot more juice. So when you eat them, they pop. And when we get these in, it inspires us to not only do stuff like low country bowls or shrimp scampi, but it also lets us do this. And this dish, this barbecue shrimp, they work perfect in. So the first thing we're going to do to make this barbecue shrimp is create this basis. And like I said before, this wasn't a straight up grill. This isn't on a skewer. This isn't a marinade or anything like that. These shrimp were served to me in a cast iron dish, and the basis of it was butter. And today we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to take a couple sticks of butter and kind of knock them into tablespoonish type pieces. We're going to use our cast iron skillet again today. You guys know I love cast iron. Thank you, Mom, for inspiring me to cook with these cast iron versus some of the stainless steel and aluminum pans. Our next ingredient is kind of a deviation from the barbecue shrimp I had down there. And like I said, this is my take on it. There's several, probably 1,000 different takes like barbecue sauces. But the take that I do with mine is I add, these are chopped jalapenos, kind of sliced. Basically, I took a whole jalapeno, cut it in half. I took the seeds and the rib out of it, and I'm left with that. This was a really large one. You can add more, you can add less. This is one of those things that it's really your spice preference. And following these steps later on, you'll be able to taste this to see if you want to add more or less to this. So, like I said, in this, less is more. You can always add on the back side to this before you put the shrimp in. Next thing that I have here is one of the things that we talk about is we love to smoke vegetables. Well, one of the vegetables that we do love to smoke is garlic, and this is our roasted smoked garlic. This is basically 2 cloves that I've minced. Again, you can add more, you can add less to what you want. Like I said, this is probably 2 teaspoons full. I'm going to go ahead. It's really flavorful, and really aromatic. It's the first thing you smell. You smell smoke and that garlic pungency. Next thing we add to this is a tablespoon of white wine. This is a Pinot Grigio. You know, this was one of those wines, you know, the highfalutin wines with the screw tops that I use in cooking. One of the things about cooking wine is that the best cooking wine is one that you can drink and one that you can cook with and don't feel like you're throwing dollar bills into the pot. So that's kind of my take on that. The last thing that we're going to do, we're going to add a little bit of our Redneck BBQ Lab all-purpose seasoning. We use this, you know, on everything, literally, and today this does form the basis. Instead of the Cajun spice mixture that I had on those barbecue shrimp down there in Louisiana, we're going to add our take on it, and our take on it is our competition rub. So we're just going to put a little bit on here right now. Probably a teaspoon. Next thing we want to do with this is we want to throw this into a smoker that we've got going out there. We got some cherry wood on some royal oak charcoal, about 275, 300 degrees. We're going to throw this in here. We're going to let this not only melt, but we're going to actually cook this for about 30 minutes to kind of blend this all together before we put our shrimp in there and throw them back into the smoker for the final step. So we're going to go ahead and throw this into the smoker, and we'll be back here in about 30 minutes to show you the next step. All right, we got our smoker running pretty good here. Loaded up some royal oak charcoal. We put a little cherry wood on there to give it a little flavor, help give it a little color. We'll go ahead and we're going to throw in our base for the barbecue shrimp in there. We're probably going to leave it there for 30 minutes. Come back out, we'll pick it up, take it back inside, and show you guys the third step. All right, we're back off the smoker. The 2 sticks of butter, that jalapeno pepper we seed and cored, and that roasted garlic's in there, and it's really smelling good. It's really pungent, really smelling good. Now it's time that we add in some of the shrimp to that mixture and do a couple other things, throw them back on the smoker. So the first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and season these shrimp. We're using today, we are going to use, of course, the Redneck BBQ Lab competition rub. That's that all-purpose rub that we put on everything. We're going to season our shrimp in the bowl with that, and then add them back to the cast iron skillet. Give these a little seasoning. A lot of this seasoning, I know it looks like a lot of it's going to end up in the pan and the sauce that we're going to make, which I'll show you what's good to do with that sauce later on. Like I said, my rendition of the classic barbecue shrimp I had down in Louisiana had a bit more spice to that. Then we're just going to layer these shrimp in there. This pan is extremely hot. One of the great things about cast iron is cast iron holds holds the heat very well. It's a uniform distributor of heat. It keeps, instead of being hot in one place like a cheap pan would be, like a cheap aluminum pan or something, the heat radiates out so you get thorough and even cooking throughout. And I think that's why it's so preferred by cooks of old and new, like myself. Man, I think I've got too much shrimp. It's almost like when you start eating sometime, going to a buffet and your shrimp's bigger than your, or your eyes are bigger than your belly. It's kind of how this is. We're going to get them all in here though, just so you guys can see it, one way or the other. They'll make room. Actually, they're going to draw up a little bit, have plenty of room when all is said and done. This was about a pound of shrimp. Next thing that I want to do, right after I wipe my hands off, is add the juice of a half of a lime to this. Important to give your food some sort of acidity. The lime is what I use in this dish. Give it a good squeeze, just add that to it, give it a little background. kind of cut through the richness of that butter too as well. It will help. Lastly, one of the things that I like to add to this dish is Parmesan cheese. And this is not the good Parmesan Reggiano. This is straight up what they call sawdust out of a can. There's something about the texture of this. There's something about the salinity level and everything else just pairs really well with this dish. I'm gonna give it a pretty good coating just kind of on top of this. If we were doing weights and measures, I would have said probably 1/4 cup of that. And there you have it. There's that barbecue shrimp ready for the next stage. The next stage is we're gonna throw this back into a smoker. We're gonna cook this until the shrimp are done. Depending on how hot your smoker or oven is how long these will finish off. These and on today will probably take about 10, maybe 15 minutes, somewhere in there. So we're gonna throw these on the smoker. I'm gonna bring them back and I'm gonna show you what I do with these barbecue shrimp besides just eat them. All right, we're back. Smoker's still hot. Throw these barbecue shrimp in about 10, 15 minutes. Then we'll come check on them and see if they're done. All right, back. Barbecue shrimp are ready. Went outside after 10 minutes to check on them. They weren't quite done. I left them in for a couple more minutes. I pulled them out, had to try a taster shrimp. They were done, perfect, just where I want them. Let's talk about like where this came from, how we get to this step. We started out with 2 sticks of butter, some roasted garlic, a jalapeno pepper that we had cut in half. We had seeded and took out the ribs and the core out of it, sliced it into pieces and put it in here. We put that into a hot smoker with some cherry wood and royal oak charcoal. We left it in there for about 30 minutes, kind of let it melt, get the vegetables cooked, get some of that smoke flavor going. We brought it back inside. We added our shrimp to it, along with a little bit, half of a lime juice, as well as some Parmesan cheese and some of our Redneck BBQ Lab all-purpose seasoning to it to give it kind of a barbecue flavor. And here it is. And I'm gonna show you guys how I would serve it to my guests. Now, if this was me, I'd probably just break off a big old crunchy loaf of bread, crusty French bread, and just kind of notch right into it myself. But this is how I kind of serve it to your family, to your friends. Sweetheart, take some of these shrimp. These are just little pieces of bread that I baked in the oven. Nothing super duper special about them. I guess if you were really keeping this authentic, you get you some of that good po' boy bread that they have down there in Louisiana, but I think you can only find that down there in Louisiana in a gas station down there. That's where I had my first po' boy sandwich at. Put them on there just like that. Then we're gonna take a little bit of that butter sauce that we had smoked out there in our smoker, pour just a little bit on it. You can't just have just a little bit of butter. It's something I've learned over the past few months here. There's no such thing as just a little butter. A little bit of that on top of it. Put a little bit more of that box, that grated Parmesan cheese on some of these. Some of these already have some on it. That gives it a little salty flavor, salty cheese flavor. Along with just a little more coating of that Redneck BBQ Lab all-purpose seasoning. We'll get fancy with this. So a little bit of chopped parsley on it. That's to make some of our guests that like a visual presentation a little bit happier. And there we have it. This is my rendition of the barbecue shrimp that I had down in New Orleans about 10, 15 years ago. Very simple technique, simple ingredients. I brought it here. I thought, well, this would be a great appetizer to make while we were cooking some other food on the smoker. Why waste space when you got that smoker going? So, well, this is the part you guys are like, oh boy, here he goes again. This is the part I always look forward to, is that first bite, just to see how we did. This smells really good, and I hope it tastes as good. This is a two-biter, folks, sorry. You don't need bread. The only thing you need is a fork, a mouth, and just tuck into this, because I promise you, this is well worth the effort to put it together, to serve it just for yourself, to your sweetheart, to your kids, to your family, to your friends. Really great dish, really great side dish to cook. Encourage you to try it. Once again, Jerry Stevenson, Chief Redneck in Charge here at the Redneck BBQ Lab, McGee's Crossroad, Benson, North Carolina, coming to you guys at the RBL Studios. My friend Mike Baker from Vent Webcasting. He's the gentleman that's putting all this on, putting it on our YouTube channel. I want you to go to our YouTube channel. I want you to like it. I want you to share it with your friends. I want you guys to subscribe to it. Most of you already have. The ones that haven't, please subscribe to it. Click on that bell. You guys can see more videos just like this one we did today. You'll be notified as soon as they come online. Please leave us your comments as to what you thought about this video and your suggestions as to what you would like to see us do in the future. As always, I'd like to just tell you guys, be kind to one another, smile, be patient. The world really needs it. That's the best kind of change we can do. It starts from within. Spread a little love, spread a little smile. Good things happen. Till next time, folks. Love y'all. Take care.